man. What? Hold up. Grab my throwback. Wait for one of y'all to get here. Man, I meant to call Jacob. Before I got on. Check on some things. It's been a long day. What's up, one person? Who are you? First off, my one dedicated. Ooh, that's water. Might have that Rona in there. So it's been raining all day. This is gonna be a pretty interesting live. We've had some interesting things develop over the past couple of weeks. Obviously, with going through with Corona and everything else, but let me add it up. We've spent the past week. We've put a roof on, 8plex. We've spent over $30,000 on another 8plex. So we've got 2 contractors working there. We have, 2 flips going on. We have 1 Giddings, 1 Tyler. Seems like there's another one. Anyways, these are both owner finance. So this is a mobile home. Giddings. We have 1 in Waco. That'll be owner finance, closing tomorrow. 1 in Weatherford. We have another owner finance in Weatherford that we already own. Owner finance. Another one that we're going to close on here pretty soon. Owner finance. So right now, inventory wise, we have 2 flips, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 that we're going to owner finance. Vacancy wise, I don't think anybody's updating our board, but I mean, we're renting stuff every single week. We've had the best month of applications we've ever had on the rental side of things. We've had, we've probably had several people vacate units that didn't pay last month. So, even though they put a pause on evictions, they hung around, or they didn't hang around, they left. So we're making those units ready. We are still working diligently to collect the rent. They put a pause on our evictions. We ended up getting 2 evictions through, but we can't get rid of possessions on them. So we are still working diligently to collect rent or whatever that we can with those, and then keep an eye on them to make sure that when they do go vacant, overall, we'll catch it and be able to make them ready. The big thing is, we had some turnover in inventory back in December that, they came vacant. We were making them ready because it was such a large volume. It would have broke us to go in and make them all ready the way that we wanted to. So we were staging it out. We would do, 5, 6, or 7 of the easiest ones, and then a couple of the really bad ones to kind of keep from depleting cash. And we have all of those units ready and online. So, with everything that we anticipate might happen as far as, losing rent as people, need to move or whatever, when they move in, we are we're requiring a little bit more from tenants now as far as what we expect money wise, first and last month's rent, stuff like that. So if they do get in, they can't just start, trying to milk the system or something along those lines. But we are moving tenants in every single week. several of our places that have never been 100% occupied or 100% occupied. That's really good. And we're building in systems and processes to keep that. That's with our downtime here. We've gotten really good at social media as far as chat bots and stuff like that to get them rented. Still working Facebook group and still letting Appfolio generate those leads. But, overall, I mean, for us, the bad part about what's been going on is the marketing. Marketing for new leads right now, I'm not going to say it's difficult because there's people that can't close right now that have already produced leads. So there's going to be a ton of people getting left at the closing table because lending is drying up. But when you go out and you try to market and you're trying to get into somebody's home and you need to look at it and evaluate it top to bottom, you can't do that. So not being able to do that means the offer has to come down to something that if you can't see the inside of a house, the only way that you can underwrite that deal ethically for you and your family is to assume it needs everything. So if you don't assume it needs everything, if you give them the benefit of the doubt and then it does need everything, you just took money out of your family's mouth. The other thing is ARVs. What's going to happen with ARVs. So I'm going to talk to you a little bit about what I see from a timing perspective on the marketing side of it, because all this inventory that we have right now, as far as owner finance, any rentals, all of that, we're building systems and processes. We're getting way more efficient at that during our downtime because we're not distracted trying to look at more leads and stuff like that. But what does, you've seen me say it, you've seen Grant say it, Grant Cardone, you've seen a lot of owner finance guys come out and talk about these times. But we've got a very interesting dynamic that we've never had before, ever. We don't know when the government stimulus check is going to hit. We don't know how much it's going to be, and we don't know when the next one's going to come. But here's the one thing that nobody's taken into consideration. There's all this noise out there, and I think people are taking into consideration, but there's all this noise out there about whether or not you have to pay rent or whether or not you have to pay your mortgage or whether or not, you know what I mean? And the tenants have been hearing that. They see it on the news. They see everything. And you've got to think, if I have bills to pay and the government's about to write me a check, for most of us, it would make sense to pay rent. Like, hey, I'm going to pay rent because I have to have a place to live. If I can't afford that rent, if I know that, I'm renting something for $1,500 or $2,000 and I'm not going to be able to afford that, then I might even break my lease and say, hey, I'm going to go downsize into something that's $800 a month. That's how my mind would work. But when the noise is out there that you can't get evicted, okay, now you don't have to break that lease immediately. So what would normally happen during a time like this or during a contraction in the market would be that, what I was saying earlier, that Grant and I have said that, the people that are renting in a higher dollar amount, let's say $3,000, $1,500 to $3,000 range, if they're paying that much rent, they would normally recognize it early that they needed to change that, and they would move into something less than $1,500, probably down to $1,200 or less range. They would be looking for that same size house that could accommodate them. So if you're investing in that $1,200 or less asset class, you feel pretty safe. But now with the moratorium on evictions and all that, they might sit there and ride that out. Well, what's happening at the same time in your units? If they are overextended, are they going to have to let something go? I saw Grant say this other day. They're going to have to let something go, whether it's the car, whether it's the rent, whether it's the side-by-side. If they've been affected by this, they're going to have to let something go. They're going to have to not pay a bill. So how many people are going to pick the car or food? Because that's the part that's really uncertain. Nobody knows how long this thing's going to last. So if the government writes me a $1,200 check and I've still got money, still got a job and still working, I could very well pay rent. But if I don't know how long it's going to last, if I don't know how long I'm going to be employed, I might want to hoard that capital. And since they can't kick me out anyways, maybe I'll reserve this resource for money or for food. Maybe I'll reserve this resource for moving expenses, because I know that I'm going to have to move someplace else to get a job because my job laid me off, and now I might have to move someplace across country or whatever. So I'm going to hold on to this. So there's a dynamic that I don't think anybody's talking about, but I want to talk about it because most people, I think, are missing something when they start talking about the opportunities or how safe their investment is or anything else. There's never been this kind of deal go on. So let's look at it. I am a homeowner and I can no longer afford my house. Okay. I'm upside down. I know right now that they can't do anything to me. Not only can they not foreclose on me, but they can't evict me if they just foreclose on me, if they just got the property back at the last auction that wasn't canceled, okay? They cannot kick me out right now. So you could be marketing to pre-foreclosures before having great success, wanting to lock it up sub 2, but these people, this owner, they don't have to go nowhere. They have no pressure on them to move, okay? So are pre-foreclosures even really something that I would market right now? Probably not. You know what I mean? I would definitely, hit them maybe once on a fly-by-night, but I doubt they're looking to go anywhere. They know right now that they've got a temporary reprieve. Normally that doesn't happen, okay? You've got your vacant houses, okay? Well, hold on. You've got your owner occupied. Okay, you got your owner occupied. They're living there. They had equity. They were considering downsizing or upsizing or moving to Florida to retire. They whatever reason they're looking to sell. They're living in their house. Now they're on pause. Why? They can't go out. They can't look at houses. They can't meet with real estate agents. 90% of the houses that are on the market that they could buy, they can't get inside of because there's restrictions and people don't want people in their house. So they want to sell so they can move, but they can't buy a new place where they can move. So what happened to the owner occupied, high equity, tax delinquent, whatever it is, whatever their motivation was that they had, is it still there? No, not at all. Like they are in a holding pattern. Okay. Probate. This is something that I haven't marketed to in a long time. And this is really bad handwriting. So sorry about that. Don't market to this normally. Okay. But typically a fresh probate, hard to market to anyways. Now, courts are I don't know if the courts are in session. I don't know if anybody's got anything going on right now as far as court goes. So you got a probate that you've been following up with or whatever. Might not be able to get it through with probate. You might have to learn how to do an affidavit of heirship. So you take your probate lead and walk them through an affidavit of heirship with the title company. Will be difficult because you're going to have to track down heirs. You're going to have to get them to sign stuff in front of notaries. You're going to have to get mobile notaries. It's not nearly as easy as it was to clear one of these. To go through probate court, it's going to be held up right now. Now, something about probates, you can go to old ones. There's a big window on probate anyways. You can go back to people that gone through probate. I'm up market right now to everybody that went through probate in 2018 and 2019, because if I got that kind of data that you can get Propelio, if you're in the Dallas or Houston or wherever markets, get that data and you can market to them right now. They might be looking to sell because for the most part those houses are going to be vacant. They're not going to have a family member move into them or anything like that. So that would be the place to go as far as marketing. I think it would be wise. Another one is affidavit of heirship. I've never really marketed affidavit of heirship, but it's the same thing, exact same thing as probate. It's just they're going a different route to get it titled over to a son or a daughter or somebody to get title of it. Okay, those ones would still be moderately well. They would do fairly well from a marketing standpoint if you catch them on the right day. So maybe both of those are still in play. Maybe not the most recent ones, which you never want to do anyways, but it would be worth following up with now. Probably the biggest thing is vacant houses. Vacant houses work better for everybody right now. Propelio provides vacant house lists, batch, skip tracing, batch lead stacker. Okay. They will tell you if the houses are vacant. R2R to get a, obviously for my affiliate link, whatever, if you're going to use batch. But vacant houses, the absolute best place to find vacant houses, and probably the best thing for your marriage right now, is to get the Propelio Driving for Dollars app and then go out and drive and look for your own vacant houses, because you've got the time, you've got the resources, and you drive, drop pins on them, and then you upload that over the top of a high equity or a high equity or free and clear list that you can also pull out of Propelio and throw it into batch lead stacker. Use R2R for the promo to get 500 free texts. But you do that if you're driving for dollars. I mean, those leads right there that are vacant, you're going to be able to get inside and see the house. You're going to be able to make fair offers. I mean, the ARV is probably going to come down. You can use all the noise in the atmosphere to help you negotiate. But overall, those are going to be your best lead source. Now, I'm not going to tell you what we're doing right now. And the reason why is because, I mean, it's, I'm going to tell our mastermind people, but that's it. These lead source right here, vacant houses with Propelio's Driving for Dollars. I mean, be the best investment you ever made right now. You want to get out of the house. You want to do something. Most people want to sit at home and try to bang on it right now, but now might not be the time. You might spend a lot of marketing dollars. The other thing that you can do that is almost free, if you've got nothing but time, is follow up. Everybody that wanted to sell last year, but you couldn't arrange, get to a price on, is now a candidate. One more thing that is very, very, very important during this time, and it's kind of different. It's not a lead source, but something you need to understand, you need to learn up on, is leasebacks. Okay. Right now, nobody wants to move. That's going to probably be one of your biggest objections. Yeah, I want to sell, but I can't move right now. Covered it up top. They're upside down, they're owner occupied, but they're unpaused because they can't move. So if you know how to structure a lease back, and it could be very, very lucrative for you to learn how to do this. Say, hey, look, here's the deal. I completely understand you can't move. What if I did a 6-month lease back, and if we'll hold $5,000 in escrow, we'll do $5,000 in escrow, and if you're out by 6 months, the $5,000 will pay your moving expenses then. So you get a bulk of your money now to make it through these hard times. And then whenever you get ready to move, you'll still have $5,000 in escrow to move. And if you're not out by the 6 months and I got to evict you, then I get to keep the $5,000. Okay. Learn about leasebacks, learn how to structure them, learn how to offer them, and learn how to structure it into your offer. Let's say you are buying it to flip or buying it to rent out, and you know that you're going to buy it with hard money. It's going to be a $100,000 loan. You're going to be paying $1,000 a month. You're going to give them a 6-month lease back. That's got to come out of the price. That $6,000 has to come out of the price. I'm going to be able to pay you $6,000 less because I'm going to have over $1,000 a month in holding costs with taxes and insurance, but I'm willing to eat the taxes and insurance, but my offer is going to have to be less because you're going to have to service the debt for me while you're in there and do the lease back. If you know how to structure a lease back right now, you'll probably have a better chance of getting offers accepted. The thing about it is, if you're going to wholesale that deal, you're going to have to make your buyer aware that, hey, they have a lease back. But understanding that would be huge. Another offer that you need to learn how to make. Another offer is owner finance. But on the timing of all these, the timing's messed up. I don't think anybody's really paying attention to how the market's going to be disrupted by this. Now, moving forward, okay, so April 1st is right around the corner. We're going to figure out, we'll know by the 5th, overall, all landlords will know in their individual portfolios how they stand on the 6th of April, because they're going to know who's paid, they're going to have contacted who hasn't paid, and they're going to know who plans on paying and who doesn't plan on paying. And I think April is going to be relatively calm when it comes to that. I think people are still going to pay. I think they don't, necessarily believe that this is going to last forever. Well, they just announced the April 30th. That might have shook a few of them. So there might be a few that were going to pay before, but now they've announced the April 30th hold. We're not getting back to normal till April 30th. So they're like, hell, I need to hold on to this. I need to buy food. I need to buy diapers. I don't need to let this money go to rent. They can't evict me anyways. That might be true, but I think May, if there's ever going to be a bloodbath, I think it's coming in May, because by then everybody should have their government check. But by then everybody might, be a little bit more apprehensive about the goings on. I know that I've been to my local grocery store. I'm going to go on the way home. I'm going to buy, me and Emery are going to bake a cake, but there was no eggs. There's no milk. There's like 4 rolls of toilet paper. The more people deal with this day in and day out, the more they're going to be apprehensive about letting go of cash. I read an article earlier called the financial distancing, that everybody is financially distancing right now. And I really do believe that people will be hoarding resources when it comes to cash. I think right now at the beginning of April, since they passed the stimulus and everything else, and it's kind of, things are not really clear right now. I think people still aren't going to be in panic mode as if we get to May and this thing is extended out to June or something like that. I think May will be a bloodbath. That in and of itself, one of the things that we did that I didn't even know we did, all of our banks, every single one of our banks, we had paid up. We don't owe them a payment until June. Okay. So that's good for us. It probably gives us some flexibility if we need it, but ultimately, we need our tenants to pay to be able to. Right now, we're sending a plumber out to a unit. We're replacing an air conditioner in a unit. We are replacing stoves, refrigerators. None of that stuff stops, especially stoves and refrigerators. You've got stoves and refrigerators. Nobody can eat out. We have to get those things replaced. If tenants don't pay, just not having a mortgage payment, okay, everybody's like, well, you don't have mortgage payment. We still have taxes. We still have insurance. We still have general maintenance. We still have salaries. And I'm not talking about our own. None of the owners are taking salaries during this time period. We need to be able to help those that need help. But if everybody that we have is still working and doesn't need help, and they're just going to try to game the system, it's not going to work out well for them. It's not going to work out well for them at all in the long run, because once they get evicted and everything else, they're going to have a tough road to hoe coming back from it. So, I think right now, if you're marketing, follow up, learning about leasebacks, and then understanding an owner finance offer. Is key. Now, y'all missed the beginning part of the video where I put up most of our inventory. We are about to list a property in Giddings, Texas, and we're going to be offering owner finance on it. We're about to list our property in Granbury, Texas, that we just got done remodeling. I just got a text message from one of our real estate agents, or actually a broker, and she said, "Happy Monday. We have had several calls on the land, but no hard hits just yet. Sales have definitely slowed, but prices have not seemed to be affected yet anyways." And she told us some of the guidelines they got for showing stuff. We've got 75 acres of farmland that's now planted in corn that's been listed for sale, that normally in a normal market, we would have already had 3 or 4 offers on it, just because, people like land. They want farmland. They need farmland. they understand it's like a great place to park some capital, to protect the value of that capital, because we're always going to need farmland. People aren't buying that sort of thing right now. It's not even on their radar because their retirement's been hit, everything else. Hell, we just sold 26 acres of land at the beginning of January that if we still had it right now, it would not sell. Complete hobby project for somebody out of Dallas that just wanted a weekend place to come down and ride ATVs and shoot their guns and have a little place to stay and some horse stalls and stuff like that. Those properties, nothing's going on with them. This farmland, I was hoping that once we listed it, the person that's farming it would see it and try to buy it. But hell, he hadn't even reached out to us to pay us for the corn that he planted on it. But I'm not upset because, if this thing goes on, having 75 acres planted in corn, I'll go out there. I don't know if it's going to be corn for cattle and deer, or if it's going to be corn for human consumption. I think there's a difference, but I'll eat it all. Don't matter to me. So that property's not doing anything. We had once we get these other two on the market in Giddings, which is down by Austin, and then we get the other one in Granbury. I'm really curious to see how they do. One thing that the agents have said that we're going to list those for us is that because they're vacant, because those properties are vacant, we're going to have a huge advantage over the rest of the market, because people still want to buy, but they can't go look at the inventory that's available because people are living there and they're quarantined. They can't sell it. They're on pause because they don't want to move during this. But the people who do want to buy, who do need to buy, or whatever the case may be, they're gonna be able to move on it because it's vacant. They're going to be able to move into it because it's vacant. They're going to be able to do work on it and not have to wait for somebody to move out because it's vacant. So hopefully we'll have a better idea, say Friday of next week, what this is going to do. Another update. Got an email this morning. Matter of fact, I need to email my man back, find out what he knows about it. Read you this email. Good morning, gents. Hope this finds you well and healthy. I just received an update that the appraisal has been completed. Once I receive the report, I will be in touch. I'm about to reply all. Did you get it? That's for a 16-unit apartment complex that we're going to be remodeling. That's a part of our apartment mastermind. So still looks like we're going to get funding on it. We got to look at the appraisal. We got to see what we can do there. We be remodeling it, parking lot, air conditioners, windows. It's a big project, and we're in our apartment mastermind. We'll be sharing it with everybody the whole journey. We already got information in there about that. So that one's going to be fun. And then this week, before the end of this week, we're going to have our entire rehab funded for another 32-unit apartment complex. The gentleman reached out, and he not only reached out and said that he was going to fund that deal. It's a private money guy, but he asked if we had any more. So we're going to present him with another $600,000. That loan amount's $900,000. We're going to present him with another $600,000, or I think it'll be, minus two. No, it'll be about a $460,000 project total that he'll be funding. And we'll be doing another apartment remodel. We'll be remodeling 25 units, not the whole 25 units. We'll be doing parking lot there. Might have to look at a lot of the air conditioners, but we'll probably wait on that one. We need to do at least one roof. We've got to do the parking lot, and then the make ready's on a couple. But overall on that one, we'll probably wait until the end loan to try to pull some equity out to do air conditioners or something like that, because we want to give the bank something that they can see that we need to improve if we're going to try to pull equity. Because all in all, those apartments, those two apartments right there, all of that entire portfolio will be worth about $3.5 million, and we won't have but right at $2 million in it. No, less than that, 1.9 million in it. Yes, and so there's going to be a good amount of equity there, and that's all based on like a 10 or 11 cap. If I mean, we expect it to be in there just because of the location. But those are really good projects for us. And to be honest with you, I was thinking about it, and I was thinking about this today when I was getting ready to cook breakfast. We This loan was supposed to have funded this big loan, this $900,000 loan was supposed to have funded in January, and had it funded in January, um, we would have been. I mean, we've been way worse position now, working on those projects, finishing them up and all that sort of stuff, than we will be when this is over. You wouldn't want to be going into the teeth of this, rounding up a project like that, and probably had to dip into your own capital at different points in times to get it, and hope that you're going to get it back on a draw or something like that. You wouldn't want to be in that situation. The way that this deal is going to fund right now, when it funds, it's going to supply a lot of liquidity for us to be able to navigate this situation. It's going to supply a lot of basically, we'll be able to keep contractors working during a really rough time, and we'll be able to get better deals on a lot of stuff. In other words, it's supply and demand. We need this done, but we're not going to negotiate about it because you don't have 5 other jobs waiting behind this one. You only have this job. So I want it done to this standard. Where before, enforcing that standard was not necessarily difficult, but you don't want to be nitpicking because that they can just walk off from your job and go do something else. They're going to be trying to take extra good care of us on this. And I don't like this contractor. I don't think they would ever do anything. But the other thing is, we won't have to wait on anything. When we get ready to do the parking lot, there's going to be a guy waiting to do the parking lot. When we get ready to do the ACs, there's going to be a guy waiting to do the ACs. And I really think that it's going to help us out a lot. If we were wrapping up the project, we would be coming down to the end of it. We wouldn't have the punch out list done yet. Worldwide calamity hits. Now they have every excuse in the world not to show up to do this, not to show up to do that. You know what I mean? Like, they've already been paid a good portion of whatever it is. And, you've got to get this next deal finished to get another draw, and they won't show up to do it because they've got all of these excuses about whatever it is, and, completely distracted, and it would drag out. Your holding costs and everything would still be accruing, but it would drag out and drag out and drag out. I think starting it right now, when they realize that, oh shit, I'm still going to have a job, I'm going to be able to work, I know that I got the next 2.5 months right here, and that's going to help my family, is going to be far more beneficial than trying to finish up a project during this. That's just my own opinion. It's not a knock on the contractors or anything like that. If I was, hell, the last 2 weeks have really provided some clarity, but not a lot from this perspective. So these things, as far as our business is concerned, we should have 32, 16, so 48 units refinanced onto construction loans, and be doing the remodels on those. One should close this week. The other should close within the next 2 weeks, I would think. And we will be running 2 rehab projects on 48 units side by side during the worst economic event of probably our life. So that's going to be really interesting, but it's also going to be really, 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 it's going to relieve the shit out of us because, having that and being able to provide those opportunities and keep our employees working, keep our contractors working is going to be huge. So I wanted to come on and rip a YouTube video. This has just kind of been an incoherent rambling for most of the time, but I'm going to call Jacob whenever I get off the phone and actually get some clarity on when some of this stuff's going to close. But we should have a lot of good news coming this week, and I'm excited about it. I'm super, super, super excited about it because, quite honestly, once all that stuff kicks off, I'm going to go out there and live at one of the apartments, and there's no corona out there, so I'm going to be there and probably fill in a pool and just kind of, I'm going to be one of the guys out there working, and I mean, we're going to have time, so why not? So anyways, I appreciate y'all's time. See y'all.